In the nutrition industry, detox is a big word. Health and wellness companies use this word all the time to promote products. But believe it or not, the word detox actually doesn't have an official definition. Further, there's a lot of confusion about how to detox the body. Consumers want quick solutions, and they often turn to cleanse diets. But that's not really how our bodies cleanse anything and also detoxify or transform potentially harmful chemicals into benign or beneficial molecules. So let's start this lecture with a brief introduction to what those detox diets are, how they may or may not detoxify our bodies, and we'll go from there to create a more evidence-based definition. So let's start by listening to what Jen Gunter has to say about cleanse diets.
Should I do a cleanse? I hear people asking this question a lot. If you're hoping it will remove toxins from your body, that's just not going to happen. Detoxes and cleanses are very popular. They come in many forms, from charcoal-infused lemonades to detox teas, and they often have a hefty price tag. The idea of cleansing isn't anything new. It's been around for thousands of years. For centuries, medicine and religion were deeply intertwined, and there was a lot of focus on ridding the body of impurities and sickness related to bad or imbalanced humors. Bloodletting, purging, fasting, they were all well-regarded treatments. Today, the wellness industry has picked up on our desire to rid ourselves of things. They've taken the word detox, the medical treatment for people with drug and alcohol addictions, and used it to apply to market cleanses. They make it sound like pouring liquid cleaner down plumbing, getting rid of all the dirty stuff. But the reason that sounds right to us is it's rooted in a lack of understanding of how our liver works. The liver is located in our upper right abdomen. It's somewhere around half the size of a football, an American football, and weighs 3 pounds. It does many jobs that keep our bodies running. From assisting the immune system, to creating proteins for blood clotting, to sending out the cholesterol we need to produce hormones. The liver is also our key organ for dealing with harmful substances. You can think of it almost like a factory. It takes nutrients from substances that we consume, food, drinks, medicines, breaks them down so they can either be packaged in a way that's usable, like cholesterol and protein, for instance, or removed as waste in the bile or via the kidneys, usually in the form of urine. Let's look at what happens when the liver encounters some specific substances. What about alcohol? That's a substance that's fine in small or moderate amounts, but it becomes poisonous in excess. When we drink, alcohol passes through our liver and the liver breaks it down in 3 steps. First, enzymes convert the alcohol to acetaldehyde, a substance that can damage cells over time. But acetaldehyde is quickly converted into acetate, a much more stable intermediate, before it breaks down into carbon dioxide and water. These are components our body can handle. Now let's look at a popular cleanse, cayenne pepper lemon juice drink, to help your liver flush toxins. You drink it, it gets digested, nutrients get absorbed in the blood and arrive at the liver. The liver processes these nutrients the same way it processes everything else. It packages whatever's useful that came from the lemon and the pepper and disseminates it throughout the body. Whatever it can't use becomes waste. There's nothing particularly magical about mixing cayenne and lemon. Doing a cleanse doesn't clean the pipes, and it doesn't make your liver work any better or faster. At best, you might lose a few pounds on a cleanse because you aren't eating much. At worst, you could go into starvation mode. You could throw off your electrolyte balance, not to mention disrupt your intestinal flora and bowel function. Clearly, having a healthy liver is extremely important. The best things you can do: don't smoke, eat a balanced diet, exercise regularly, and get lots of sleep. But there are some more liver-specific things to do. Don't consume too much alcohol, as it can cause a variety of problems over time, from fatty liver disease to cirrhosis of the liver to liver cancer. Read the warning labels on medications, as some can damage your liver when you don't take them as directed. You've probably heard about hepatitis, which can be caused by a viral infection of the liver that can be very serious. Get the vaccine for hepatitis B if you haven't already. And if you're an adult who hasn't been screened for hepatitis C, consider talking to your doctor about testing options, as too many people don't realize they have it. Finally, be careful with supplements and herbs, particularly anything marketed as bodybuilding or a weight loss supplement, as these are not nearly as well regulated as you would think. 20% of liver injury due to medication in the United States is actually caused by these kinds of supplements. So talk to your doctor before you start them. So many things are sold to us as self-care, and cleanses are no exception. But I believe the best self-care is just learning more about our bodies. That way we can tune out all the noise and make informed decisions on what we really need.
Let's reframe the conversation around detox diets by starting with an evidence-based approach. We can define detoxification as the process by which our bodies break down and remove substances that are either undesirable or have the potential to cause us harm. These substances can be the result of normal metabolism, which is completely perfect and normal, and we should be telling clients and patients that. For example, breaking down proteins results in the production of ammonia, which is toxic if it's allowed to accumulate in the body. Substances like this can also be exogenous in nature, meaning that we're exposed to them externally. These substances include things like medications and toxins that are present in our environment. Pollution and microplastics are two examples of environmental toxins that continue to pose issues for human health. Most important in all of this is that we need to get consumers and patients to think of detoxification as a natural process that our bodies carry out for us on a continuous basis. And they do this through the utilization of 4 key organs in our body, and that is the liver, the kidneys, the skin, and our lungs. So let's dive in and learn a little bit more about each of those. Let's take a moment to fully appreciate how amazing this organ is, the liver. Liver cells are organized into columns with spaces in between that allow large amounts of blood to flow through this organ. This ultimately allows the liver to filter out chemicals, dead cells, microorganisms, and other debris from the blood. There are special cells in the liver called Kupffer cells. These are pictured in red in the image. These are a key cell type that help with the filtering out and metabolizing of toxins. As an interesting aside, Kupffer cells are a type of specialized macrophage that are specifically found in the liver. They are so plentiful that they account for more than 80% of all macrophages in the entire body. In the image, you can see the important structure around these cells. So these are filtering blood within this broader context of other cells. So again, the Kupffer cells are red, and they're organized around hepatic stellate cells, which are green, and endothelial cells. So these are the ones that line blood vessels running through the tissue. These are the blue cells, or the blue components in the picture. And then if you're wondering what the little gray circles are, those are nuclei within those cells. Kupffer cells are special because they present a protein called cytochrome P450. This is a whole class of enzymes that can degrade all sorts of compounds and toxins. Typically, it takes about 2 steps for these enzymes to break down toxins. First, they take fat-soluble compounds and transform them into more water-soluble molecules with the help of B vitamins as cofactors. Second, these intermediates get further broken down into fully water-soluble compounds that can then be excreted in bile. Now let's talk about the kidneys. The kidney have glomeruli, which remove waste and toxins from blood for excretion in the urine. This elimination occurs in conjunction with important electrolyte balance, which is critical for blood pressure management, vitamin D activation, and red blood cell synthesis. So the kidney plays a wide-ranging set of roles in metabolism, but is very important for excreting water-soluble compounds in urine. Now, most of us don't always think of the skin as an organ that is especially important for getting rid of toxins. And it's also often forgotten that it's an organ in general. But we do need to highlight it because it can eliminate toxins. Many metabolites and toxins actually diffuse into our sweat glands, and when we sweat, those toxins are released. Examples of such toxins include heavy metals and phthalates from plastic products. And lastly, we'll touch on the lungs. Most of us think of the lungs as an organ that exchanges carbon dioxide and oxygen so that we can adequately perfuse our tissues with oxygen, but they actually filter out a number of other things, like ketones. So if someone goes into ketosis, where they've not been eating a lot of carbohydrates and a lot more fat, this becomes important because if they go into ketotic acidosis, they can breathe out toxic ketones that are accumulating in the body. So the lungs do play a role in getting rid of volatile toxins.